Did you know that every word you speak matters? Are your conversations making a difference? With a passion for words and a heart for conversation, Teresa Velardi is a self-professed word nerd, best-selling author, BizCat 360 columnist, and publisher. Children's books as well as fiction and nonfiction books are welcomed at We Be Books Publishing and Book Endeavors, the imprints of her company, Authentic Endeavors Publishing. Whether written or spoken, Teresa strives to encourage and inspire meaningful conversations that make a difference. Here's the host of Conversations That Make a Difference, Teresa Velardi.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Conversations That Make a Difference. I'm Teresa Velardi, your host, and I am excited to bring my good friend, Michelle Renee Hammer, to the show today. We're going to talk about getting through the holiday season. But in the meanwhile, I need to do some housekeeping. Conversations That Make a Difference airs every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. with live call-in shows and video every first and third Tuesday of the month at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Listen on syndicated Dreamvisions radio network, online, on your mobile apps, in the car, on YouTube, and by asking Alexa to play Dreamvision 7 Radio. And to learn more and get the full schedule, go to dreamvision7radio.com. And for those of you who have been following me, you know I start my show with a prayer. So let's do the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I also want to say that it is by God's grace that we are fabulous, blessed, and highly favored, living in our greatness, using our gifts and talents, making a difference in the lives of others with passion and purpose, and all of God's great universe is conspiring in our favor. And we gratefully say, Amen. Amen. So, Michelle, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Michelle Renee Hammer. Teresa is one of my dearest friends. I have spent my entire life, adult life, as a therapist, and I founded a practice after doing a number of social work programs. I've been told I'm an apostle, which is a weird word. Basically, that I'm a starter. God has me going from thing to thing to thing, starting things, and then sort of leads me to the next thing. The most recent of things is a show she and I do together on Win-Win Women Network, among other things. But yeah, I'm really happy to be here. I'm a wife, a mom of 2 kids, 4 grandkids, and in the Maryland area for listeners everywhere. I know, T, you're in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I'm in Pennsylvania. And it's getting cold here. Is it getting cold in Maryland yet?
Yeah, it started. Today was one of our colder days. We just first sweater of the year.
Nice. So, that's relative to our conversation, because when the weather starts to get cold, what do we start thinking about? We start thinking about the holiday season and what we're going to do, who we're going to invite for Thanksgiving, and, whatever we're going to do. So let's talk about, the season can be it can either be really good or it can be really challenging. And there are a number of things that go into that statement. Sometimes the best thing to do is spend time with family, and sometimes the worst thing to do is just spend time with family. Some of us have some crazy relatives, right?
Yeah, we all do, I think. For sure.
So do you have any advice for people who are in situations where, the family gets together and you have one bad apple, so that they don't spoil the whole bunch, girl?
Oh my gosh, I know. I can think of so many scenarios, right? In my own world, or professionally and personally, where people share that somebody just sucks the joy out of them. They just have the person that they're ducking and dodging, or literally everything in them screaming, run away. Right. Yeah. And you can't avoid the world. You can't avoid family gatherings. You could, I guess. But if you want to be a part of your family, it's the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? Like Clint Eastwood says. So I would say a couple of things that always throughout the years have shown up to be very helpful. One is, if you know that someone drives you crazy, you can limit limit the amount of time you give to them. I know there's people that you feel like back you in a corner and you don't have any ability to kind of get out of that situation. So I say have a buffer baby. That's a person that's like, hey, you're my buffer baby. You're my family who partners with me. You're my partner in crime to keep me from being suffocated, by so-and-so. And, let's be honest, most people in families, they know who the people that drive everybody crazy are. The ones who are, probably more likely than not, either addicted or personality disordered or have some massive thing going on time and time again, chronic complainers, people that play the victim. We could say a million things, Teresa, but at the end of the day, for whatever reason, they have a hard time thinking about other people and being in the moment happy. And who wants to be unhappy at Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever, Hanukkah, whatever people's thing is, right? So, me, I'm a boundary girl. Set limits and have somebody partner in that with you. Yeah. It's like your rescue mission person.
That's good. The set limits and the boundaries, have somebody to partner with you, somebody who can maybe pull you away from the conversation before the explosion happens, right?
Exactly. Right. Because you might lose your temper. I don't have a temper, but I can get pushed to where I'm not going to lose my temper, but I might say something inappropriate or cause another person to feel hurried or rushed or hurt. But, people that are tough, you can set a limit with them and they just keep talking. You ever been mowed over or like you're trying to say, wait a minute. They're telling such a long conversation that you're 20 minutes in and you still haven't gotten to the punchline of one story. Yeah. And you have like 40 people or 30 people or 20 people in the room coming to see you for a holiday that you haven't seen. And you only have a number of hours to kind of connect with everyone. That's hard.
Yeah. So I think that there are certain things that we can do, like what you just gave is great advice, that we can do in preparation for these holiday gatherings. What about people who are, the kind that are frantic and everything has to be perfect? And, you can't go. Sometimes I have people in my life who start shopping in the middle of the year for their holiday season. And then I have people in my life who don't go to the store until Christmas Eve. I'm like, what? Yeah. So, and then they'll drive me crazy by saying, well, I couldn't find this and I couldn't find that and blah, blah, blah. What do we do when people are, what kind of boundaries can people set when they're being, I want to say, dumped on, like people are venting everything to you that's not working and asking for your advice when there really is none? They need to set boundaries for themselves. How do you handle situations like that?
So good. So that's completely different, right, than people we're spending time with that we're not enjoying the time, or as they say nowadays, the vibe. And I was thinking as you were talking, before events happen, we can, if we're Christian or whatever religion we come from, we can pray about it, right? But when we are with someone and they are basically backing themselves into a wall because they're perfectionists and everything has to be picture perfect, like a Hallmark card, or the Hallmark Channel, where it's like, oh my gosh, do you see those decorations? My God. Or they're running out last minute. A lot of men I know do that. And then complaining and stressed out, all worked up, and like you said, frantic, because the lines are a mile long because Christmas is the next day or whatever, or Thanksgiving is the next day. And so they're telling you're saying, or me or someone else, all about how horrible it is that things are either stressful or not perfect. And I think limit setting with them would be, for me, what I think would be helpful is if you ask open-ended questions like, hey, is there anything that you could do differently? Or, like if you notice they're trying to be perfect, like what is so important that it has to look this great? Usually there's something beneath that, right? Like perfectionists a lot of times are worried about other people and how they see their house, their stuff, or they're concerned about the outcome instead of just enjoying decorating or enjoying the holiday season. They're not happy. And people who wait to the last minute procrastinate. It's got two P's, perfectionists and procrastinators. Okay, what's causing that lack of motivation? Sometimes it's no money, or no confidence or no clue. I don't have any clue what to buy anybody. I think it's more helpful to ask questions and offer solutions than just listen to these long-winded rants that I don't know about you, but they're really hard to just sit and hear.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's really difficult. And especially when, we've got our own stuff going on. We have our own things that we have to do, stuff we have to accomplish, whether we're talking about finishing a meal for Thanksgiving or whether we're in the store
Right.
getting something last minute. We've got our own stuff going on. And it's,
Right.
I have somebody in my life who will call me and just like unload everything. And it's like, and I'm looking around at all the stuff that has to get done. And as much as I want to be able to hold space for this person to rant or get whatever's going on off their chest, so to speak, I'm like, now all the things that I had to do that I would do with confidence and joy are now like rushed. And now I'm carrying the burden of what somebody else is saying along with me. So is there a polite way?
Well, you bring up a point that I think a lot of people, and myself included, are, of a position that a lot of us are in, where we're kind and we care, and we have people in our life that do not care or do not feel any type of guilt or shame or embarrassment to just call and start talking on and on and on in the dump mood. And I know I have people in my life that will literally reach out to me via phone or text and just mid-sentence it. Like, they won't even say, hi, how are you today? It's just like a bunch of information with no context, no salutation, no greeting, no permission to ask. You don't even have hello out, and they're already talking about something that's bothering them. And I've learned to, one, interrupt them and say, hey, I hear something's going on right now, but I have this and this back here going on. I can't really talk right now. Are you free this weekend or next week or whatever, before they even do that? Or if you have the time, I would say right up front, hey, time out. How are you? I'm okay. Like, just kind of redirect them. If it doesn't work, I have like 10 minutes. If somebody's not able to give you anything and they're just taking, you can limit how much you give. That's not fair to you, me, or anybody else. It's just not.
And sometimes I'm going to say God interrupts the pattern by cutting the phone call off. I've had that happen to me a couple of times.
Right?
You hung up on me. No, I didn't. I didn't hang up on you.
Right.
But I lost you. I'm sorry. Yeah. And then when they call back,
well, you know what, Teresa? Like, you and I are friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, it cut off for a second here just now. You and I are friends. And so I know if I just need your ear, if I have a limited amount of time and I need your ear and I need your help or I need your prayers, that I can say, hey, I need to pick your brain.
Yeah.
But is that okay? Whatever.
Yes.
And then I could call you and talk to you for a half hour about a problem, and you would listen and be okay with it because I asked your permission and I told you I needed you. I didn't just call you up, assume you were free, and just start unloading everything that's been going on, which we all have lives that can be hectic or problematic, and just say, okay, thanks, bye.
Don't you love that, though? There's not even any room for you to say, oh, by the way, there's no room. There's no room. But these are some of the things that I think a lot of people deal with around the holiday times, especially around the holiday times, because during that time frame, there are people who we may not have talked to for a long time who are welcomed into our homes, welcomed into our lives during the holiday season and whatnot. But and then it's like you try and figure out like, well, that was a hurricane that just came through here, and then you've got to pick up all the damaged property along the way, So it's just, this is really good for us to have this conversation, because I think a lot of people struggle with this especially during the holidays, So, and here's the other thing.
I hear you.
Here's the other thing too. I think like there are a couple of people in my family who their work schedule doesn't allow them to leave town for an event, and they or somebody already has their Black Friday shopping already laid out, and they're leaving their house at 5 a.m. and God forbid they're not there to do this, and it can't happen anywhere else. And sometimes when you know their
Right.
patterns, you can just not invite them. Yeah.
Exactly. I love that. Also, as you're saying, the holidays bring it out. I mean, the amount of calls in our practice goes way up after the holidays because people have spent time with people that they don't normally spend time with, that they think they're okay with whatever's gone on or going on, and then they get triggered. But you're right. Another option, a beautiful answer that you're given is if someone usually doesn't attend or won't come anyhow, you don't have to ask them. Or if they want it to be different than what you've planned to accommodate their traditions, then they don't have to do what you're doing. They don't have to be there.
Yeah.
We just feel like everybody has to be there. Sometimes it's wiser to see great aunt Thelma, who always comes with a trouble, at a different time. If you want to see great aunt Thelma,
Yeah.
you can make time to go spend time with her, with your buffer buddy.
Yeah, with you. I love that. Have a buffer buddy. Yeah, that's great. And I love that title too. Not Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Buffer Buddy.
It's easy to remember. Trust me, my husband is my buffer on the holidays. I'll even say to him, you know, you're my buffer here for so-and-so and so-and-so. And he's like, I know. Because they can just start talking about like something like, say, hunting and go into this elaborate description of like a duck blind and where they're hunting and what they're doing. And you're trying to like interject or say, excuse me. And it's sort of like not even acknowledged. So if he sees me stuck in the corner with someone, he knows to come over and be like, hey, babe, let me borrow her. Can I please borrow her so-and-so? She hasn't seen my aunt in a long time. So that's really a pleasant way of cutting up a conversation. It's really more of a one-on-one or a coffee chat, not a room full of 20.
Yeah, exactly. So, we always have these friends friends or family members who will come back at you for not getting the invitation, and I mean, for me, it's like, I have to tell you this, and we may have to wait. Yeah, we got time to do this. A few years ago, my son said to me, Mom, I feel like I have no family. It's just you and me. We're the family. And I'm like, well, isn't that enough for you? That's the first thing that I say. Because, because I know if I open the door and let them all in, we're going to have a problem. So I said to him, okay, so let's do a big holiday. And so we invited them from all over the place, from wherever, was a drivable distance. We invited them. And when I tell you fiasco with a capital FIASCO,
I hear you.
It was enough to make anybody crazy. And so the point of this whole thing is that you live and learn. And so if you learned that something doesn't work, and because the personalities are clashing or whatever, or because somebody is not happy unless they're screaming at the top of their lungs about something that's probably not even relative to what's going on, but they just do that because they need to have that kind of attention. The next time somebody says, why don't we have a big event? I now say, do you remember what happened the last time? And I leave that door closed.
So wise.
It doesn't have to be like that. Do you? So what would you do in circumstance like that? Would you just
when they're asking to do it again, or when they're wondering why they weren't included?
Well, to do it again, to make the invitation.
Yeah, I think you're smart. Yeah, like it didn't work last time. That's why we didn't do it again. I just think for most people, we can be direct. The only people that are not able to manage that are people with certain personalities, chronic personality issues, because it's sort of like the more information they get, the more rabbit holes they travel down. So one question leads to 5 for them. But yeah, I think if we've invited people and it didn't work out, we can say, it didn't work out. If we invited people and they didn't come, we could say, it's usually just not good with your traditions and schedule. So I just didn't think you would want to be there.
Yeah, there's always a way to fix it, but somehow the delivery is one thing, but the ideas are there. But the delivery is another thing, because of course then the offense monster comes alive, So it's you have to be tactful, especially with family members, because and people who are near and dear to your heart. It doesn't necessarily have to be your family members. It's anybody who is important to you, who may or may not be part of some of the stuff that we're talking about today. People are challenged with the happenings of the world today, and you want to be tactful with honoring their feelings, and at the same time not making whatever is going on the outside come on the inside when we are gathering together for good things, whether it be Christmas, Thanksgiving, or holidays throughout the year. I think that this is a really important conversation to have, not just here, but with your spouse, your children, your family members who you can talk to, who will honor your opinion and your decisions, to make things the way that you want them. If they're coming to your home, this is your home, this is your door. And if you don't like what's going on inside, well, there's the outside, So anyway, all right, we have to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about this commerciality of the holidays and how to set boundaries where that's concerned. So we'll be right back with Michelle Renee.
Are you one of the many people who said, someday I'll write a book, but don't know how to get started? Many wannabe authors have begun with the same question and are now published by Authentic Endeavors Publishing, a multi-imprint hybrid publishing company. Whether you're writing an autobiography, a memoir, a kingdom book, a children's book, a business book, or an anthology, we have a place for you. Visit www.AuthenticEndeavorsPublishing.com for more information or to set up a 20-minute consultation. Your title of published author is within reach.
Born Able exists to highlight and normalize the humanity, worth, and abilities of infants and children born with complex medical conditions. We write, illustrate, and publish books for these children and have featured over 1,000 children throughout the world. Our videos and posts have been viewed over 100 million times on social media as we strive to showcase these amazingly abled kids and fight relentlessly for equal medical care, regardless of diagnosis. All proceeds from Born Able books go directly to the Born Able Foundation. To nominate a special kid to be featured in a Born Able book, go to www.bornable.org to learn more.
Did you know that every word you speak matters? What you say and how you say it can make or break a relationship or shift the outcome of any situation. Are your conversations making a difference? Faith in God, gratitude, authenticity, and giving are Teresa Velardi's heart. It's in this spirit that she's focused on making a difference in the lives she's blessed to touch. Conversations That Make a Difference is now on syndicated Dreamvisions 7 radio network every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
This is Dreamvisions 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Welcome back to Conversations That Make a Difference, and to my conversation with Michelle Renee Hammer, who is an expert in helping people to set boundaries that work for them. And I invited Michelle today because I think that boundaries are something that really needs to be set and honored whether we're talking about, as we are today, holiday events, that are family traditions or whatever conversations you're having on the outside with people who may not have the same belief system as you, and so forth. But what I wanted to talk about next is, all right after Thanksgiving comes Christmas. Although I have to tell you, right after Halloween comes Christmas in the stores. They skip right over Thanksgiving, which is,
I know.
it's like, what? How does this happen? How does this happen? But the retail market, whether you're in the stores or shopping online, it's crazy. And it's people tend to overspend. And I made a decision a long time ago that I was not going to go into debt for Christmas. And I stand by that. Like, I do my very best to make decisions that will get what I need within a certain budget. And if I have to make a different decision, then I work with it when that happens. But in the meanwhile, there are these people in the world, many people in the world, who run their credit cards up to the max, and then they wonder how they're going to pay for it. And a lot of these people, especially in the economy that we've been in recently, are like, they're destitute when it comes to the holiday season. It takes a long time to recover for that. So let's talk about setting boundaries around spending, and who we actually gift to, and different ways also that we can use in order to be able to limit ourselves when it comes to spending money or even putting a meal together. Let's talk about that a little bit. What do you suggest?
Yeah, I hear you. I know. I think it's so important that you bring up boundaries, because we don't realize how many times throughout the day that we need to either have some type of self-control or limit with ourselves, or figure out why we're struggling with that, or have limits with other people or the influence of our culture. Some people need influence with social media. There's just a lot of pressure around the holidays to just do certain things. Like you said, have the full on Thanksgiving meal with everything that you could possibly imagine. And some people aren't able to afford it. Buy everybody in your family Christmas gifts because you always have done that. And that's what everyone else is doing. But not everybody has the money. So you said so wisely, they end up jacking up all this credit card debt, and they start the new year with all this pressure. I don't know if you noticed, it's how much you buy for Christmas. It's takes forever to prepare, and it's like gone in a flash. I mean, how long does it take to prepare Thanksgiving, and how quick do we eat it? Or how long do people set up this Christmas morning thing, for the kids, and then in like a half hour it's all over with. And it's just a lot going on there. So I think some wise things are to be honest with yourself or your family or whoever about, your limits. So if you do not have a lot of money, there's things you can do that are inexpensive to make memories. There's things you can build, things you can participate in, things you can offer to help, like giving people little cards that says, I'll help you in the spring, clean your windows or do your lawn. You can be creative is what I'm trying to say. You can be honest and be creative, but you don't always have to be commercial and buy. I found the less that my husband and I buy, the happier we are in any way, but especially in the holidays. And we have 4 grandchildren that I would love to spoil, but we just do like stocking stuffers, and then we take them somewhere to make memories because they have all this stuff already. They get inundated.
I love that idea. Take them, spend time with them, make memories together. That's the biggest gift of all, I think, to everyone who's involved, right? It's stuff they remember.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah. And
spending time. I mean, a lot of people are busy.
Yeah, exactly. People are busy. But when you set something that you're going to do together, everybody gets excited that they're going to, the little ones, I'm sure they're getting ready to see their aunts and uncles and cousins, whatever. And they have a good time, and they will remember that. Remember when I had somebody, are you ready? We're planning a reunion. A big reunion. for my high school class. And I got an email from somebody that said, I remember having lunch with you in the second grade, and we were eating hamburgers with relish. I was like, what? And then sent me a picture of the two of us standing next to each other in a class photograph. Aww. And I'm like, this is just like, I don't remember that moment, but the joy that came that somebody remembered something simple like that it's just amazing. So there's a lot of things that we forget have happened. But somebody will remind us of that. But let's talk about like a Thanksgiving meal. Like it's expensive to do Thanksgiving meal with all the trimmings and whatnot. But the people that you invite, do you think it's appropriate to have somebody bring a dish? I think it is.
I love that. So it's so funny you ask. My husband's a chef, and we've always done for a number of years now the Thanksgiving because he loves it and he can do it so much faster and more efficiently than someone who's not a chef. Okay. Mm-hmm. But just starting this year, he said it's a lot. He's getting older. It's a lot. So we're doing it at my daughter's, but everybody's bringing a couple of things. So we made a list, and you know what? Everybody's favorite things that they like to they're bringing, but we all split the work. And I think that everybody has an investment in that, don't they? Everybody's showing up, everybody's contributing some financially. Mm-hmm. Everybody feels needed and included. This is the first time we're doing it, so I can let you know how it goes. But I have a sneaking suspicion it'll be even much better than us just doing it or hosting it because everybody's involved.
Everybody's involved. I love that. So that the people can bring like their favorite dish to the table that probably is something that we enjoy anyway, right? For example, one of my friends has a daughter who started a bakery, and of course she sent out the list of things that she has available for Thanksgiving and for Christmas. And I was like, somebody says, oh, she makes a really good apple pie. And I'm like, my son would say, no, mom's making the apple pie, right? So I'll make the apple pie. So choose something else from the list. Choose one item from the list. So instead of buying two pies, I'll make one, and then you can buy something, something else. So share the responsibilities, share the financial burden, that it takes to put something like this together. And I think, like you say, it's probably going to be better because everybody has brought their favorite or their best dish to the table, making it even that much more enjoyable, right?
Yeah, and you're on social media. You have all the different things: text, email, FaceTime. All the different ways to connect. You can make a list of everything that you want to have there, and people can sign up, or you can just say, oh my gosh, we love your sweet potatoes and we love your apple pie, Teresa, and we love Dave's stuffing. So people can just bring stuff that that they would want to make or bring. I think that's so meaningful though too. And I think a lot of people are strapped. We have a lot of economic uncertainty now. It's a lot of money to have a full-on meal for people.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason why this conversation needs to be had too. Besides the interaction between people, the financial part of it. And for people who don't cook or, don't want to cook or don't have enough to be buying for so many people, something that is pre-made, do you think it's appropriate to say, hey, listen, I saw some really cute plastic plates at whatever store. Maybe you want to just bring the place settings. And then this way, it not only cuts down or paper plates or whatever, because I know they have all these ones with the holiday decorations on them and the turkey in the middle or whatever. And maybe it's okay if you're having a bunch of people to have someone bring the paper goods.
Yeah.
I think you should, if you, the
Yeah, if
more
you
you
know
share.
somebody's like struggling and you know their personality.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think if you know they're struggling, you know their personality, you can send them a link, share something with them. You know, a lot of cranberry sauces come in the cans. There's inexpensive things that we all think Thanksgiving are about that somebody could contribute, like rolls. You know,
Right.
I hear you. I think that's all fine. I think it's different mindset than showing up somewhere and someone has it prepared and ready,
Yeah.
of showing up with something. But I love that. I think we need to be creative. This country is expensive anymore.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's
Exactly.
hard on young families, especially.
Yeah. And you know what? Thank God for dollar stores, right? Thank God. Well,
I love them. I still go
yeah,
there.
yeah, they're easy, and you can actually participate without spending a lot of money. I think that's awesome. Now let's talk about the influx of packages and whatnot that are underneath the tree, or the ridiculous amount of packages that get split up. How does one? I have a couple of ideas, but I want to hear yours first. How do you like limit yourself and limit the spending at Christmas time without getting yourself into debt? What do you think are some good ideas?
Limit ourselves from spending. Is
Hmm.
that what you mean?
Yeah, limit
Yeah.
yourself from
So
spending, and help others to not have to spend so much either.
there's a lot of pressure. And I think if we can just be honest with ourselves about what is influencing overspending, then that's where we can limit ourselves. And then we can just share with other people who may expect us to buy more, do expensive. Hey, this year we're going to. You know, some
Mhm.
people say pick a name out of a hat, only
There you
buy
go.
for the kids, right? Go get together for lunch. Everybody's
Mhm.
going Dutch. There's like, again, it's being creative, but it's really genuinely saying to yourself, in this time and space in my life, can I afford to
Mhm.
continue to do what I've always done? Or do I
Mhm.
need to do something different? Back to that, setting a boundary, communicating honestly. Most
Mhm.
people are super understanding and they're not going to be like, well, Teresa, she used to buy me every year. She bought me an ornament and she's not doing it this year. I mean, you might get one or two of those, right? You might,
Yeah.
but guess what? They're going to have to figure out in their own heart why they can't let Teresa not do that anymore.
Exactly. Exactly. So here's another thing too. And just talking about ornaments, I hate to do. I love the Golden Girls. I love the Golden Girls, and they had one year they had where
Hilarious.
they pulled the name out of the hat, and they only bought for that person, and they there was one person that they didn't want to get their name right because they would always get something a little crazy, but but it ends up that that person really gave them a well thought out gift. So, one way to do it is to, yes, pull the name out of the hat, and regardless of who you get, just trust that you're going to have a lovely gift. And to me, Christmas is not about the commerciality of it. It's about family, friends, spending time together, really enjoy each other, making memories, as we talked about earlier. And then the other thing I think that because I am somebody who's crafty and artsy and whatnot, how about instead of spending money on massive gifts, how about you make something for each other?
So
Um,
meaningful.
yeah, it has extra meaning to it, and you put your heart and soul into it. And I got to go to the Golden Girls again because they did that, and everybody was wondering what
Yeah.
Rose
Well,
was going to give them, So, but she ended up
I
doing a
love
good
it.
job. But the bottom line is there, if you have a will, you will find a way to do it differently. I believe that,
Amen.
yeah.
Yeah. Teresa, your ideas are so good. And I think too, at the end of the day, people have a hard time like making a shift if they've always done whatever to do something
Mhm.
different. They feel this like false sense of guilt or fear come up. But
Mhm.
I know the Japanese symbol for crisis is opportunity. It's two sides of the same symbol. Here's an
Yes.
opportunity to have more fun. Everybody buy a gift. Everybody buy a gag gift under $10, and we'll just share them. Like every time we say the word tree or Santa, you switch to the next person. Whatever. Everybody buy a
Yeah.
gift that's revolving around blah blah theme. And then we'll all pick names out. You don't have to buy for a specific person if you feel like somebody will get ripped off because so-and-so's gifts are not great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like kind of a crapshoot, but it makes it fun.
Yeah, exactly. And what's that other game like where everybody brings a gift to the table and you can, you hold your gift and then somebody decides that they want what you have and they trade with you. What's the name of that game? I can't remember.
I wish I remembered that name. I know what you mean though. And I think it's a lot of fun. And I think, it puts some element of surprise, like when you were a kid and you didn't know what Santa would bring. I also like people have shared with me that they've done gifting where nobody writes their name on what they bought. They just bring it and sit it. So nobody knows who brought what. And then again, you're going to have people who really love a gift and somebody's going to get credit and be like, well, I bought that one. That's the one I bought. That's what I brought here. You know what I mean? But whatever, let that person do their thing. God bless them. I just agree with you that Thanksgiving and Christmas and all these moments through the holidays are about, the truth of the matter is it's about being together with people you care about and making memories, and all the food is going to get eaten and be gone. And all the stuff is eventually going to wither away. But what's going to last forever is the memories and the time and how you made people feel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great way to end this segment. We have to go to our next commercial break and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about getting involved in the meaning of the holidays rather than the commerciality of it.
Do you have an uplifting personal story to share? The Daily Gift Book series began with a daily gift of gratitude and a daily gift of hope, both available on Amazon. We're looking for people like you to share a story in our continuing series. Kindness, peace, inspiration, and generosity are just a few of the upcoming topics in the Daily Gift Book series. Your stories matter, and they make a difference. Visit www.dailygiftbookseries.com to find out more on how to submit your story for one of the upcoming titles.
With the hustle and bustle of today's world, how often do you practice gratitude? How can you make it a habit? Gratitude is more than putting a smile on your face and being thankful for the roof over your head. It's expanding your perception and finding gratitude for every opportunity and every challenge. Gratitude is a feeling of connection to things higher than yourself, to God, and to others. We focus on light, positivity, and connections. When we join our grateful hearts together, the power of community attracts more people and even more to be grateful for while making a difference. A grateful heart is infectious. Share it. Join our Grateful Hearts community on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/The Grateful Hearts Community and watch your blessings blossom.
This is Dreamvisions 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
And welcome back. We're back with Michelle Renee Hammer, and we're talking about the holiday season. And, we've talked about a couple of things where solutions to potential problems, whether we're talking about inviting guests to a dinner, whether we're talking about limiting spending at the holidays and being a little bit more conscious of what we're doing, because I think we get caught up in stuff that just like takes us away to Macy's when we had no intention of going there. You know what I mean? So let's talk about the meaning for these seasons. Yeah. For the season. So when we go to the word Thanksgiving, I think immediately of gratitude. What are you grateful for? What can you? Because when you go back to where Thanksgiving started, it was all about giving thanks for what we have, for people who are in our lives, for what we can share with one another. It was all about gratitude. And actually, we have a book that Michelle and I are both part of. This is Daily Gift of Gratitude. We put this together a couple of years ago. Michelle added something to this herself. And those are stories that really focus on being thankful, being grateful. What are some of the things that you can suggest for people to think about as they move into the Thanksgiving season? What if they say,
I love
anything to be grateful?
Yeah, I love it. No, I love your questions. I love the topic for today's show, all of it, because the holidays are a struggle for so many people, even people that are feeling like they're handling it reasonably well. I've had harder years than others. I'm sure you have too. I've overspent. I've had poor boundaries. I've overcommitted. I've been that frantic, insane person going back to these lights, redoing them 7 times. And my husband being like, oh, enough already. You know, I've been a lot of these people we're talking about, but every time I've overcome one of those ways of being, I feel better. And I think the thing that I notice a lot, and I'm sure you do too in America, is people get caught up in the hype of the advertisements and the messaging that's everywhere from your family, from social media, from your culture, from the commercials. And they get caught up in like focusing on the meal and forgetting the meaning, focusing on the gift and forgetting the giver. You know, and I think that's just a mindset thing. You're a wonderful, amazing champion of gratitude and Thanksgiving, Teresa. You live your life from a space of gratitude. Everybody that knows you have a grateful, joyful heart because you're focusing on what matters, what's bringing meaning, what brings you blessing, not every single thing that isn't going well or that's causing strife. And it's just a mindset thing. People have to decide what it means to them. But to you, Thanksgiving means gratitude and Christmas means Christ. For other people, they got to decide how they want this to go. That's the beauty of being adults. Like adulting's hard. We spend our whole life wanting to grow up, and then we grow up and we realize it's so hard, but then we still do things that we were taught to do that we no longer feel like we need to do. And we get to give ourselves permission to decide what it means to us.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so a big question to ask yourself is, when I come to the Thanksgiving table, why am I coming there? Like, what is the purpose for me being at this table, and what can I share that's going to make a difference for somebody else? You know, so I know we have a habit that before we eat our meal, we make sure we go around and ask people like one thing that they're grateful for, and it brings the mindset into a place of more peace and more knowing that even though it doesn't feel like you have anything to be grateful for, you can find just one thing. And it could be grandma's apple pie. You know, it could be the turkey in the middle of the table. It could be the fact that you have somebody new in your life who you invited to the table. So when you think about things to be grateful for, it can be just the small little things that make a difference for you. I had somebody in my life one time who said, "Oh, I have nothing to be grateful for." Well, the wrong thing to say to me, you know. So
you're going to challenge that, right? I love that. If they take one thing away from today, what do I bring to the table? You know, that's such a good thing you're saying, because there's a table in Thanksgiving. There's usually some type of table around people's Christmas, right? What do I bring to the table? What do you want to show up as?
Yeah.
A blessing or a burden, a comfort or a cross, you know, someone who's stressed out or someone who's really excited to be there. You do bring stuff to the table. We all do.
Exactly. And then when we go to Christmas, oh goodness, we know for Michelle and I, Christmas is because of the birth of Christ, and who brought, here we're going to talk about the next book, hope into the world, right?
Yay!
So Michelle has a story in here too. And the cover is the lighthouse, because the lighthouse is a beacon of hope for sailors lost at sea. And Christ is the light of the world, and he is a beacon of hope for those who are lost in this world. So I think that for me, the commerciality really tweaks my heart. Like, why can't people see a bigger meaning of the holidays? And if you don't celebrate Christmas, I'm sure that your tradition has a bigger meaning than the gifts that you feel you have to buy. So do you know anything about some of these other traditions that people celebrate during the holidays? Maybe you want to add something to
like
that?
Kwanzaa and Hanukkah. Yeah, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, and all that stuff. I think, in Hanukkah, they have a number of presents, one per day for a number of days to honor, a time that was back in the Old Testament, right? And, there's other traditions that have their version of something going on in the same season as Christmas, as you know. With Christmas, I think too, I remember being younger, just I felt that nudge while you were talking you're talking about the commercialism and people feeling the pressure of my kids versus what other kids are getting, you know, and not wanting their kids to feel like I wasn't bad, Santa didn't show up for me, or different things. There's just so much in that. And I remember when my kids were little, I had a mentor, her name was Anne. And she said in her family, they had 5 kids. So they did the 3 wise men. They said, you get to ask Santa for 3 things. Now, if they gave them more than 3 things and they could afford to, okay. But that's what we end up doing with our kids. Like, what are the 3 things you want from Santa? Instead of this like laundry list, it's like a mile long and you're stressed out trying to find it all and run around looking for it. Mm-hmm. I just think that just zaps the whole point of the holidays. It's already cold in our areas, Teresa, and it's already, you know, things that we don't like. So at least we get the joy of having things to look forward to, right?
Exactly. And I think that's a wonderful thing that you just said. 3 things, because there were 3 wise men who are representative of the gifts that we give. They gave to Christ during his birth, and that we carry that tradition through as far as the wise men are concerned. But the other thing that I wanted to say about this is that it went right out of my head.
Well, it's okay, because we're talking about other traditions, but basically that no matter what the different religion, there's pressure there, right? There's pressures of expectation, and there's this commercial, this worldly like weaving in the midst of it that sort of kind of zaps at it and says, you need more, do more, buy more, be more. Buy a big car, put a bow on it. That's a way to please people.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting how many car companies are running commercials like that. It's crazy.
No, well, I can tell you something. If you want more, I can tell you something. I can tell you a more.
Go ahead. Give me a more.
Okay. We had this article I was reading for our church, and it said, name 5 people that have received the Heisman Trophy. That was question 1. And then it said, name 5 people that have made a difference in your life. And then he said, when it all said and done, it's not going to be about the big stuff, the big cars, the big famous people, the athletes, whoever, entrepreneurs, rich people. You're going to remember the people that made a difference.
Exactly.
And we can all think of 5 people that have made a difference in our life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I couldn't tell you a Heisman Trophy winner if you asked me. If
exactly.
It was a new car with a bow on it on the outside of the boat.
Right, exactly. And then there's like 5. And then he asked a few more questions. He said, how about 5 Nobel Peace Prize winners? How about the first 5 Indian battles? I'm like, wow, these are all different things that we probably knew at some level, somehow, somewhere, but 5 people who just got the Academy Award this past year. I mean, I could try to get there, but then he said, name 5 people that made a difference to you, 5 people that, you know, supported you in life, 5 people that you could call if you need them. And it's like, you can really do that. So the whole show, you're talking about gratitude, Teresa, and it's really about showing up. You said, what do you bring to the table?
Yeah, exactly. What do you bring to the table? And, this about making a difference, when it comes right down to it, if you ask me about the Heisman Trophy winners or any of the questions that you asked, Michelle, I got to turn to Google for that. But when you ask me who made a difference, I get to go to my heart.
I love that.
So, and you're one of them. You're one of those people. And I'm so blessed to have people in my life who have made a difference. And it's not necessary for us to exchange anything except for who we are and how we be. And that brings me to the kindness factor, which is the 3rd book, which we just released. This, A Daily Gift of Kindness. And the thing is that, if we are kind to one another, if we honor each other, who we are, just for who we show up in the world as, and because we share certain beliefs together, we can make a huge difference in the lives of anyone. And that's why, my show called Conversations That Make a Difference for a reason, because I think that every single one of us was put here for the purpose of somehow making a difference in this world, whether it's this big or whether it's monumental, it doesn't matter. We're here to make a difference in the world. We were given a purpose by a creator who thought about that before we were even a thought in our father's eye, as my dad used to say. I did this before you were even a thought in my eye, my mind. So it's just, I think that we need to pay attention to the little things and the more important things rather than the huge. Nobody's going to give you a standing ovation for buying you a gift at Christmas time. I'm sorry. Or somebody might, but for the most part, people in my world don't do that. They say thank you, or sometimes they'll throw it back at you. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Whatever the response is, it doesn't make a difference. So how is it going to be? Exactly. How are you going to make a difference during this holiday season? Michelle, you've given us so much to think about. Together we have put a lot of stuff out there for people to think about. If there's one more piece of advice you could give someone during the holiday seasons, what do you think it would be? No, I'm kind of putting you on the spot.
One thing. No, it's okay. If I had to say one thing to anybody about the holiday season, enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Time goes by so fast, My grandmother said, Michelle, life's like a toilet paper roll. It goes faster at the end.
Exactly. I love that. And so for all of us who are heading toward the end of the toilet paper roll, we are coming to a close of Conversations That Make a Difference for today. I have loved our time together. Thank you so much. Next time, we'll have another conversation with somebody else who will make a difference. In the meantime, everything that you're doing, every conversation that you're having with someone, make sure it makes a difference for you and for them. Leave space for them. Don't take over. And with that, we say, enjoy the holiday season. And thanks, Michelle. We'll see you again soon.
Yeah.
Tune in next time for Conversations That Make a Difference with host Teresa Velardi every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday on syndicated Dreamvisions 7 radio network. Thank you for listening, and thank you to our station owner, Deborah Beauvais, working behind the scenes. Be sure to go to conversationsthatmakeadifference.com for your free gift. Make sure your conversations make a difference.